What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Four Verts. My name is Harrison Graham, and on today's show, I'm going to predict who will get hired as head coaches for the 5 remaining open jobs. This, of course, coming after the Chicago Bears hire Lion offensive coordinator Ben Johnson on Monday, leaving us with 5 openings. Mike Vrabel to the Patriots, Ben Johnson to the Bears. Now we got 5 more jobs to fill. So we will do that coming up here in just a moment. And listen, we did this video last week about 8 days ago. Picked up almost 200 new subscribers. Can we top that on this show? Trying to get to 7,000 subscribers on the channel. We're dropping daily NFL and college football content. It'll be much more NFL heavy now that the college football season is over, but we will still have daily videos here on the channel. And we might even look at some of these individual jobs, Cowboys, Raiders, etc., and kind of just go through some coaching candidates beyond the prediction I'm making today for each of those gigs. So if you want more content, more NFL news, rumors, updates, playoff game reaction, we got you covered here on 4 Verts. Okay, let's start with the Jets, where the next head coach hiring could be. Aaron Glenn, the favorite to get that job. Ian Rappaport reporting this morning that their goal today is to not let him leave the building. It's kind of the old phrase, used to hear it in college football with recruiting. Don't let him leave the building, all that stuff. If Aaron Glenn, if all goes well today, it sounds like the Jets are going to try and finalize that hire. That way he can start getting started with his assistant coaching staff. Lance Newmark, who is current assistant GM in Washington, has a long relationship with Aaron Glenn. He was with the Lions for several years before this year as well. The rumor was if for some reason Ben Johnson took the Vegas job, that Newmark would go to Vegas with him. But since that did not happen, following Aaron Glenn to New York to be his general manager makes a lot of sense. So keep an eye on this. Depending on when you're watching this news may already be finalized that Glenn is going to be the head coach there. So keep that in mind. There's also a rumor that he could bring in Steve Wilks as his defensive coordinator. So Aaron Glenn, who's got a lot of connections around the league, has been on the Jets and the Saints radar for a while, 2 teams he played for. I think the Jets get this thing done sooner rather than later. Okay, let's go to the Raiders because obviously a lot of attention there. They took the big swing. Tom Brady tried to get Ben Johnson, couldn't sell him on it. I think the lack of access to a quarterback was a big issue there in trying to get that done. So he goes to Chicago. Big report that he is a big fan of Caleb Williams, all that stuff. So Pete Carroll. This is who I predicted last time. A lot of these predictions are similar. I think Carroll is a safe plan B. Is it a long-term option? No, but maybe you can pair him with an offensive or defensive coordinator that you think can be the head coach in 3 or 4 years and take over. With any luck, maybe by then Andy Reid is retired. Because let's be honest, this just is not an attractive job. I get Tom Brady is in the mix now. He's a minority owner that's calling games for Fox that does not live in Las Vegas. After this coaching search, how involved is he actually going to be? I mean, I would imagine he has some involvement in the offseason, but I can't imagine it's going to be massive. Pete Carroll knows what he's doing. He can stabilize the organization, which is something they have lacked forever. Give him a 3 or 4 year deal. Let him get the train on the tracks. They're not going to contend for Super Bowls anytime soon. Can they push to be 500 in 2 years? I mean, that would be a huge win for Vegas. Think about the division. Andy Reid and Mahomes, Sean Payton in Denver, Harbaugh and Herbert in Los Angeles. Like, it's going to be tough to compete until you get the quarterback. Pete Carroll at least gives you credibility. He knows what he's doing. I think if you could get him in there, I get it. It's, going from thinking you're going to get Ben Johnson to Pete Carroll, who's in his early mid-70s. That's kind of a tough pill to swallow. If you're a Raiders fan, it's not a good job right now. It's just not. So to get a guy with this amount of credibility, I think would be pretty good. I think they should try to get Mike McCarthy. I just think he's going to end up elsewhere, and we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, Jacksonville. Obviously, they would have liked Ben Johnson as well, but with them keeping Trent Baalke, that just was not going to happen. So I think the next best thing is Liam Cohen. You've got to reboot Trevor Lawrence here. I think Cohen, the work he did with Baker Mayfield, his time with Sean McVay, Will Levis had the best season at the college or pro level with Cohen. Cohen plays at Kentucky. This guy has worked with different quarterbacks. He has helped maximize a guy like Baker Mayfield. I think he could get Trevor Lawrence back on track. We know he's a talented young guy. He just needs a fresh voice in there, and I think Liam Cohen could be that answer. Another name I would mention here is Joe Brady, but with the Bills still in the playoffs, maybe you just lock in Cohen. They're already bringing him in for a second interview along with Robert Saleh, who's in the mix there. I just think you got to go with an offensive mind. You got to go with someone that you think can get Trevor back to where he was a couple of years ago when they made the playoffs and had that big comeback win against the Chargers, because since then, it really hasn't been that good, especially the last year and a half. Started in 2023 pretty well, had the ankle injury, didn't finish that year well, and it was a disaster in 2024 with more injuries. So I think Liam Cohen makes a ton of sense. Would you like him to have a little more NFL play calling experience? Yes. Under the radar job, not a ton of pressure. I think that would be a good fit for both sides. Again, you would have liked Ben Johnson, but once you kept Trent Baalke, that was not going to happen. I think Cohen is a good, kind of like the Raiders, a good recovery plan here. Okay, Dallas. I have no idea what the hell Dallas is doing. Now, I will say this. The Brian Schottenheimer thing, and they're going to interview him soon, Rappaport reported. I mean, that would just be a train wreck. Other teams don't even want him as their OC. They're going to just promote him to head coach because he's Marty Schottenheimer's son. I get it. He's a respected assistant in this league, but he didn't even call plays in Dallas. That would be crazy. I'm still going to go Kellen Moore here. I think the comfortability, the fact that he's coached there, him and Dak have a relationship. Jerry really likes him. I'm still going to predict Kellen. I'm going to throw something out there, though. Maybe some people think it's crazy. I don't think it's crazy at all. If the Saints don't get Mike McCarthy, and we'll talk about the Saints in a second. If I'm Jerry Jones, dare I say I'm begging him to come back? Like, Kellen's intriguing, but is he better than Mike? I don't know. Brian Schottenheimer certainly isn't, at least based on what we know. Like, I think they thought McCarthy was going to stay. And while if McCarthy doesn't get the Saints job, that means the Bears and Saints went in different directions. I think he'd be open-minded to coming back to Dallas. I think he would reopen that door. The question is, would Dallas reopen that door? I think they should. I know Cowboys fans wouldn't be a huge fan of it, but you're telling me they'd be a huge fan of Brian freaking Schottenheimer? I mean, Kellen Moore, I guess, is younger and a little more exciting, but it's not like that would be considered a home run. It's still kind of staying within the family. Well, if you're going to stay within the family, why not just do it with the guy you know? Do it with the guy who won 12 games 3 years in a row. I get it. It's not sexy. It may not be super inspiring, but you could do a lot worse. And I know that's not what Cowboy fans want to hear, but Jared didn't want to go after Ben Johnson. People don't like the structure in Dallas. Like, what other options are you going to have? He's not going to go with the young hotshot OC except for Kellen because that's who they know. Look, I've said it. I wish they would hire Dion for the entertainment and to see if it works. I don't think they're going to go that route. I would not completely dismiss a McCarthy reunion if he doesn't get the New Orleans job. Okay, speaking of it, though, I do think that the Saints are going to be heavily interested. They're trying to lock up a interview with McCarthy this week. There's some bad weather stuff in the South right now, so I think they're trying to lock down a time that works. But I would imagine the next couple days he'll interview, and if I'm the Saints, I would try to fast-track this. Look, Joe Brady's been linked there. Was Joe Burrow's guy at LSU when they won the national title. That would be the more like take a swing for a home run hire, and I would certainly not be against that at all if I'm a Saints fan. In fact, if I was a Saints fan, I probably would want to take that swing. But McCarthy would be a stabilizer. This is a team that doesn't have much cap wiggle room. Obviously, they've done a good job in the past to get under the cap, but they've got some big contracts that they need to move on in the next year or two. McCarthy is a guy that while you're going through that transition period, I think could keep you competitive. I think if Derek Carr is your quarterback this year, McCarthy could have him playing at a decent level, even though it's a short-term option. I think he's a strong candidate right now. I would consider him the front runner. We know they like Aaron Glenn, but if the Jets lock that up today, they're not even going to get an in-person interview with him. So I think McCarthy is the next guy there. Keep an eye on Joe Brady as well. Obviously, the Bills are still playing, so you'd have to wait that out. And if they do wait that out, again, that door could crack back open for Dallas if they want to go back in the Mike McCarthy direction. So just saying, wouldn't rule that out, but I'll predict McCarthy to New Orleans. What do you guys think is the best open job remaining? I think with Dallas, you still have Dak, you still have some good talent on both sides of the ball, but you just have the Jerry situation. So you could certainly talk me into one of these other jobs. If you think Trevor Lawrence can get back on track, that's obviously an attractive job. If you're not a Lawrence guy, though, that's tough because his contract really just starts to kick into gear this year. Give us your thoughts in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We will have more content here on 4 Verts through the offseason and for the rest of the NFL playoffs. Got the AFC and NFC Championship game. We'll preview those and have reaction to those games when they get here this weekend. My name is Harrison Graham. We will see you guys very soon.